Aloha and good evening, and welcome to Mel and Charlie Live here on Facebook. Hi, I'm Uncle Charlie Iona. That's Mel Raposo. That's having a withdrawal to some bad mayonnaise he ate today.
No coffee tonight. Tonight is
Water.
actually it's iced tea, some Crystal Light, the powder you put inside, and
Yeah, and that's the one that these that sugar substitute, right?
I think
It's not a
so. It's yeah, it's sugar free, so but it's
yeah
really good. It's the lemonade. I think
yeah
it's lemon. I'm sorry, iced tea with lemon. It's really delicious,
very.
actually.
So we'd like to say aloha to everybody and welcome. It's Saturday. It's the 30th. Again, tonight we're just glad to be on that. We hope that you will stick around with us. We're going to recap the week in review. There's some things that are popped up both locally and nationally. So, we'll get to talk about that. Anything of interest that you would like to talk about, please send it over and we'll try to catch it and try to answer it for you. Um, how was your day, Brother Mel?
It was really good, man. It was
Good,
really good.
good.
You know, it was really good. Went as you guys know, I went to Papayas to do a follow up visit from last night's Facebook Live with Liana Sung, and I tried to do a live, but the internet, the signal inside the store was horrible. So you guys got a little bit of it, but you got to go check it out. If you've never been, or if you haven't been to their new store, which has been there for quite a while, go check it out. It's like a full on grocery store with everything you can think of. I mean, I was shocked. They got makeup. They got everything. Everything that you find in the regular stores is there. So I ended up buying a tuna wrap, and Patsy bought some. Um, this is going to be interesting because what we're having tonight for dinner, actually, it's plant-based hot dogs, bro. look,
Oh,
look at Charlie's face. Plant-based. It looks like a hot dog, and then Patsy made her own. She baked her own bread. She baked her own hot dog buns, bro. And she's never done it before. So we're gonna have plant-based hot dogs in Patsy's home-baked uh, hot dog buns. I'm excited.
well, I'm happy for you because I'm gonna have some plant-based vegetables with some plant-based dressing and with some all meat products.
The other thing, Charlie, today when we got the mail came very early today, so we got I got a box. I got a box in the mail,
Okay.
a priority box from Deja Vu.
Oh, our friends over at Kukui Grove.
Yeah, so they sent us, as you can see, Mahalo, Mel, and Charlie. We are
Oh,
so grateful for you. And inside was a handwritten note. Charlie, I'll definitely get this to you. I'm not gonna read it, but it's very touching, man. I mean,
why
very.
don't you go ahead and read it? Go ahead and read it. It's okay. Share it with our audience. The fine people at Deja Vu at the Kukui Grove. We had them on a couple weeks ago. Happy
Okay, bro.
Feel Good
You
Friday.
you okay? Charlie made me do it. And look at this, man. This is handwritten in blue ink. It says, "Dear Mel and Charlie, thank you again for featuring Deja Vu Surf Hawaii on our very special Feel Good Friday episode of your show. The time to connect with your viewers came at a very critical period for us and provided with us a trusted platform to share our story. We're grateful for the opportunity and for the work you do to ensure that Kauai remains safe and special place to call home. Enclosed is a small gift for each of you. I love this style because it requires less refills and also fits nicely in most cup holders. With gratitude, Sarah and the entire staff."
Woo. Wow. Deja vu. Deja vu. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Support local.
Yeah.
So she
Thank
says that the card goes to you, and I get to keep the two Yetis.
you. Okay. That's. I hope they're. Yeah, you can make good use of them. You and
Look at
Texas.
that, man.
Yeah.
So perfect for you and me, Charlie. When we do our nightly stakeouts,
Right on.
it's awesome. So anyway, thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Deja Vu. Appreciate that. Again, we're trying our best to showcase the small businesses, and we're starting to get. We got people calling. Somebody was from Oregon. Who was that? Jason.
Jason.
Right on,
And
man. All the way from
we got
Oregon.
Roland from Texas. We got Texas in the house as well.
Texas in the house. All right,
Yeah.
all right.
Folks, I did want to say one thing, and that is we are so grateful. We continually just give thanks to all of you out there. As we start to recap tonight, we're going to start our recap in a little while. I just want you to keep in mind that, we're really getting down to the wire on certain things it's a little confusing, but we're going to talk about it. But I hope and pray that you folks keep yourselves safe, because that's all that matters to me. I want to make sure you folks are safe. Who would have ever thought right now? Who would have ever thought that we'd be at already 400,000 deaths in the United States? I mean, that is, if you just try to comprehend those kind of numbers, it's heart wrenching. It is heart wrenching.
And it's still ramping up on the mainland. We're not even close to the end. I want to also shout out Essie is on from Florida. Jacqueline is from Illinois.
Yes.
Corey is from IAEA. Hey, you guys, thank you guys, man. Appreciate you guys.
Corey is.
It's so late over there. It's so late, and you guys are here joining us.
Corey used to be over on Maui, and she worked for Stephanie at Kapalua at one time. And she's also a classmate of mine. She's an upperclassman. She was very mean to me in school, but I like to recognize her anyway. No, she's a good person. Good person. Her and her brother. Her brother was just a year above me, and so good. And look, we even got one from New York tonight.
New York, jeez, it's really late in New York. Same as Florida, actually.
And we have Casey Wang from South Korea watching. Kawaii girl, who now lives in South Korea. So thank you, Casey. But anyway, like I said, it's heart wrenching, and the thing that's heart wrenching is not only the fact that the group I mentioned, that numbers has already left us, has left this world, but just imagine the families that probably couldn't be with them when they probably said their goodbyes. It was one of those things. Well, some of them, probably most of them, if they were in a hospital. And that's why I'm always, always constantly asking the good Lord above, please, if my words can reach anybody out there, please just use caution. Because, I can see how some people have already taken the vaccination. I can see some attitudes out there that, hey, I get a big S on my chest. Well, just be careful now. Just be careful. Because the jury is still out about how this thing going to work on us and what it's supposed to do. So I just want to be cautious, and if it means that I got to spend a little bit more time in the corner of my own little room and be reclusive from dangers, I will take that step just so I can be around to say mahalo and aloha to many of you, because no use. We preach the word and we act haphazard and we get dinged by this virus and aloha oe, you know what I mean? We're not going to be able to, remember that celebration we're talking about? It is going to take place. We definitely will have a celebration when this is all said and done.
All right. we also got Arizona. We got Laurie in Arizona and Ed in Washington State. Awesome. Awesome. Anyway, yeah. So there's just too many things we don't know yet, and we're gonna talk a couple of things tonight. I mean, what we talked about it a few nights ago, but now it's official. The lieutenant governor has submitted his proposal to the governor. Mm-hmm. So it's not just chatter, it's for real. He has sent the proposal to the governor to allow travelers to travel restriction free after they wait 2 weeks after their second shot. That's what's the proposal. And he wants to start that inter-island in the middle of February, and a month later expand it to trans-Pacific travel. One of the things that bothers me tremendously, Charlie, tremendously, is how the lieutenant governor has consciously ignored all the science. All the science. I mean, Dr. Fauci himself, who the lieutenant governor claims to be his buddy and his agreement, and he follows Dr. Fauci's lead. Well, Dr. Fauci has made it very clear that the vaccine is not a free pass to travel. And in fact, Dr. Fauci made it very clear that we don't know if you can still pass the virus. We don't know if you can still get the virus after you are vaccinated. We don't know. We just don't know.
I think he's basing it on, because there's one variable that's missing. We all talked about herd immunity, right? We are nowhere near herd immunity. We're nowhere near that. Many states that will be traveling. So I guess before I stick my foot in my mouth, he is saying that as long as you got a vaccine and 2 weeks after, no restrictions. But yet everybody else get restrictions. I mean, that's what he's saying, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess he's going to be sadly mistaken when he sees plenty of people with plenty restrictions, because that means that they haven't been up to first base to get the vaccination in the first place. That's what's going to happen. Because, what's dominating the news is the unavailability of vaccines. That's what they're talking about. So I don't, so maybe the same people, Mr. and Mrs. Wilson from California, I guess they're the only ones going to be traveling to Hawaii since they got vaccinated, while the rest of California waits for the vaccine. Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, he has become the advocate for travelers. That's what he has become. He has become the advocate for travelers, the lobbyist for travelers. Because you see, what he's saying is that, okay, if you get the vaccine, there's a very good chance that you won't get sick. The vaccine is supposed to prevent you from getting very sick. So in his mind, he's figuring, again, being the advocate for the traveler, that, hey, come to Hawaii, travel, get your vaccine, you can come because you're going to be okay. I'm not concerned if you pass the virus that you bring here, but you're not sick because of the vaccine. I'm not as concerned about others getting sick from you as I am about not allowing visitors to come to Hawaii. So I'm willing to risk our people getting sick because we want to generate the revenues that we're losing because of COVID. That's how I take that statement, that his whole focus, his advocacy is on travelers, not on the health and safety. He mentions, all he talks about is opening travel. That's all he talks about.
Well, he
cannot talk about the science. You see, Charlie, he cannot come up in his 38 or 34-minute Facebook Live and talk about science because there's no science that validates what he's saying. So he has to keep focusing.
He is getting the word sick mixed up with the word um, transmissible. That's two different things. That's what he's doing. He's talking about getting sick, yet he's not addressing the issue about being transmissible. It's like what the CDC says now. They went from recommended to required. Yeah, both start with R, but one has more oomph than the other, right? So I think he needs to understand what's in play here. But again, that's why I think we need to do our part, because if I was a betting person, things can get out of hand really fast if we're not careful. And I think that's what we need to do is everything needs to be done carefully. And I hope everybody does that. Yeah.
That's what shocks me. I mean, that's what shocks me. Coming from a guy who not long ago, relatively speaking, was so pro-test, pro-contact tracing, you know, just took a dump on the Department of Health for not doing their job, talking about how quick this virus can spread and how contagious this virus is, to kind of saying that it's really not that bad now, and just go get your vaccine and then you get to travel freely. The other thing is now Mayor Blangiardi, I guess, is drinking the same Kool-Aid, is talking about opening up the bars in Honolulu. But do you blame Blangiardi if he's getting his consult from the lieutenant governor? You know, I understand. I watched the news. I saw the story. I saw that bar owner said that, you know, he's not going to reopen, that he's broke, that in March, you know, he owned several bars on Oahu. In March, he had no debt. Now he's $1 million in debt. You know, guy, you're not alone, pal. And we know what happens when they open the bars, right? I mean, they're asking the bar association, the private bar organization, whatever it's called, is they want Blangiardi to increase or when he opens up the bars, he wants the capacity at 75% of capacity. That's crazy. Now, I don't know what the governor is going to do. I'm not sure how the governor is going to react to that request from Blangiardi. But the trend, you see, this is the danger of listening to leaders that minimize the danger of this virus, not using science and just using emotion or whatever, special interests, because you make foolish decisions that gonna get people hurt or killed. And that's what bugs me.
Well, remember, let's go back to the time. Remember that they couldn't tell us where some of these clusters were? Then we found out about these bars, especially the karaoke bars. But oh no, we take safety precautions. This is like the same thing. Caution one, if you're a singer, because we know that it's transmissible when you sing, that when you do sing, we're gonna put you in one glass case, right? When you sang, right? They showed that. But yet all the crowd are listening and singing along with you outside of the glass cage is okay. And then what happened? Sickness started to pop up. I went, well, exactly. There went that theory.
And Charlie, that's what's going to happen, right? Because what Blangiardi is saying is he believes that the bar owners are responsible and they can police themselves. Yeah. One cluster, two cluster, all the bars close again. You know, that's just, we've seen this happen. We're
going to make one shirt. The new saying will be, I never know.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to make one shirt. I never know. Yeah.
You know what is the most irritating, frustrating thing is how hard we try to keep our kids out of school and how hard we try to let bars open, travelers come in. You see the hypocrisy, right, Charlie? we will not lift a finger to try to help our schools open.
Mm-hmm.
No, cannot. No. But we're going to go bend over backwards for travel. So we're going to stuff them all in one airplane. We're going to bring them to Hawaii, and they're going to have no quarantine, no testing, nothing. Or we're going to open up bars on Oahu, million people, triple digits every day, and we're going to let that happen. But we cannot figure out how to get our kids in school. We cannot let our kids on Kauai. Thank God we got one mayor that allows youth sports. Honolulu, no more youth sports. They cannot. The kids cannot play. The kids cannot practice. The kids cannot do nothing.
You
But
know,
that stuff to the back burner while we try to figure out how we can satisfy our special interests.
you know what I don't get. What happened to at one time we were so focused on the breakthrough in different types of affordable rapid antigen test kits. Remember? They talked about it. We had one being developed in Hawaii, I believe was Oceanet, the one you give the spit. But I can see why that kind of went like slow down. You have to give so much spit. The only way you can give this much spit is if you chew one ghost pepper first and develop all that sweat in your mouth for spit in, forget that much spit. I mean, but that seems like that would probably be the only way that can suffice to make their dream come true, is because again, where are the safeguards in place? It's almost like we are, so what we've been talking about is very much proactive, right? Being proactive about this whole thing, getting ahead of it. Everything that I hear coming out of those morning meetings, it just sounds like we're going into a reactionary mode. And it's going to be very, very spooky how we handle reactionary modes, whether we can react that fast.
Yeah. Well, that's par for the course for this state. That's what we do. We do the knee-jerk reactions, and then we overcompensate, and then people suffer. And it's not just the lieutenant governor, right? We get our brilliant Speaker of the House, Scott Saiki, who introduced a bill that is no longer chatter. It's real, that they want to basically take away the mayor's authority on their islands. And I know some of you believe that it's going to impact the other islands. I know Mayor Victorino right now is looking at tightening up his island because they're getting hit hard. But on Kauai, Derek stayed the course, and the numbers prove it. Yeah, we're still the strictest county, but Scott Saiki doesn't want that. No, he wants the safe travel program, one pre-test 72 hours before you get here, and that's it. You get a negative test, you're e komomai, welcome to Hawaii, and your mayors cannot change that. They're going to take the authority. Right now, the governor has the authority to approve or not approve a mayor's request, because that's an executive decision. Now, when the legislature now is getting involved and they're going to pass a statute, a law that the governor cannot override, the law will dictate that, sorry, Mayor Kawakami, whether you like it or not, brother, you got safe travels. So here we go. Saiki, I'm not sure where he's coming from. I have no clue. But he's a Speaker of the House, and just in my experience, because of the political trading, the horse trading that goes on at the state capitol, he probably has the votes. And we'll see how our Kauai people, we heard Jimmy Tokioka's response. He's not going to support it.
Well,
I kind
no.
of saw Dean's response, but we won't know until the vote works, until the vote is done. My point is this, Charlie, is the governor is silent on all of this, although the governor did say he was very hesitant about changing anything, but he hasn't really come out and directly said. But you got the lieutenant governor and you got the Speaker of the House, both working to ease restrictions in our state. That is dangerous. That is dangerous.
Let me first say this. I want to say this to a good viewer. Our condolences goes out to the family. Honani Pacheco just wrote her niece's husband just passed away this morning in San Diego from COVID.
Oh,
So now it hits home. Okay. So we've got a viewer who's letting us know this, and we extend our deepest condolences to your niece and to the Ohana. And we are so
I'm sorry, Charlie. I missed that post. Who was that? Haunani who?
Pacheco.
Oh gosh, so sorry, Haunani.
Yeah.
Prayers go out. Prayers go out. You know, see that. You know, that just angers me even more.
But you know, there's something that we should also figure out too is this. If you folks don't agree with what Speaker Psyche, Speaker Al Psyche is doing, and yet he's representing his district, and yet whatever he's proposing and what they're all proposing to do is it affects the entire state. All you have to remember is one thing, and I promise I would never say this, but I'm going to say it because it's a fact. I'm not going to make up a story. It's a fact. This past election, Speaker Psyche barely won his election. I think he won by 100 votes. He just squeaked by. So that kind of says something that I hope he made contact with his constituents, that the last holdouts that saved him, you hope and pray they never change directions. Because the next election may not be so lucky.
You know, and that is very true. But in Honolulu, and this is no offense to you guys in Honolulu or on Oahu, it's the mindset is a little different because they're big city. These guys have been on no quarantine for how long already, Charlie? You know, they're focused on opening up. They're focused on everything else. The thing I do not like is the Oahu, the city and county of Honolulu, at the legislature, they have the majority of the representatives. They have the majority of the senators. And that's why I said, you know, it's very Oahu centric, a lot of the decisions that are made. And that is why we all got to step up. We got viewers here that are from all the other islands. You know, in reality, the neighbor islands got to really band together and protect the neighbor islands from this Oahu centric mentality, because we operate differently. We are so different, and yet we are so much alike. But in this case, why would you not allow the mayor? Why would you not allow the mayor to run the county as he or she sees fit? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So hold your legislators accountable. You know, we also got a bunch of bills, and we'll talk about it a little later, but and it'll get to my point of how we gotta help our legislators get engaged. Sitting on the sidelines doesn't help anybody. You know, our legislators, our elected officials, the people that we voted for, we did our part, right? We voted, regardless of who you voted for. You voted, now it's their part. Now the voters did their job. The elected officials got to do their job, which is representing the voters. And we got to hold them accountable. No, sit on the sidelines. Don't do that. Step up. I want to hear you. And I'm not hearing them. I'm not hearing, and I'm talking local and state as well. I'm not hearing. I don't hear it. It's quiet. It's crickets. As my good friend Tommy posted the other day, crickets. You know, crickets. I want to hear our representatives speak out. Whether for or against, let us know. Don't play the game.
Well, you know, I think Jimmy did make a comment right the other night, his position. Yep. So which is good. I mean,
yeah, you know, no, Jimmy did come out and said, And he actually said early on, um, in responses to our viewers' requests, and we did get responses from Dia, and we did get responses from Nadine, but they weren't committal responses. They were, well, while I blah, 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 I haven't really seen the bill. Well, now you've seen the bill. I want to hear it. Come on, put them in your newsletter. Let us know how you feel and where you're heading with this. It's a very simple question. Do you support it or not? What more information do you need? Do you want the state to take the authority from the mayors away? That's what this bill says. That's where we gotta get them engaged by keep sending your emails, keep calling them, keep texting them.
So I guess, you know, from a very layman's terms, if that's what the bill says, right? Having the taken away from the mayors, then why even vote for governor then?
Yep.
That's as layman as that's as layman you can get.
Well, Psyche has been critical of the governor, and that's why he basically wants to take the power away from the mayor and the governor by putting them in state law. And you know, the problem with state law is that it takes a long time to pass a law, and then it takes time to undo a law. You see, let's say this thing passes and Safe Travels is open now. Now they have to go get a special session, okay? And let's say we get the clusters and it's blowing up. The governor cannot stop the law. I mean, they would have to go and undo the law. And that is where the problem lies, right? Certain determinations got to be left to the governor. So I just don't understand why. It's power plays, I think, between the House and the governor. The governor already has that authority, but the governor has also agreed to allow the mayors to deal with their counties how they see fit, which I support the governor for doing that.
Well, I did want to, you know, get back to a subject that you talked about earlier about the traveling into Hawaii. And I want to pose this question. Hawaii gets its share of vaccines. We get over 90% of the people vaccinated, right? There is still that unknown element of how many people are getting vaccinated in a minute, or whether they'll be able, you know, I guess I saw one comment that, you know, the lieutenant governor said that we'll achieve herd immunity by summer. Okay. Okay. I don't think so, because, you know, I wasn't that bright in math, but right now, based on the amount of vaccines that are doing during these rollout sessions, I don't think it's even coming close to the numbers that we should be expected to hit. So, I don't know.
At 1 million people, 70% is 700,000. So we would have to vaccinate 700,000. Now remember, kids cannot get vaccines. So the number is skewed. You're going to have to give out more adults to make up the kids that aren't getting vaccines. So he's the salesman. He's the salesman. He's the advocate. He's the advocate for travelers. And he's going to say and do whatever he's got to say to get the people to feel comfortable with his decision. And the people are too smart. Because again, you know, Charlie, I solicited a post out there. Anybody that knows a medical doctor or a scientist, aside from the lieutenant governor, that can validate or agree or support the lieutenant governor's position, I would love to have him on the show. And this is pure, I'm sincere. We're not gonna bring him on to beat him up. I want to know if someone exists, because I don't think they do.
Someone also posted that, why don't we invite the lieutenant governor? Well, if you know the relationship, you remember the song by Khalil Kalani? I love you, hate you, but I never thought the world stopped turning. That's what it is. It's a love-hate relationship here on the Mel and Charlie show. Because why? We started all on the same plane, and somewhere along the line, one of us got deplaned. And that's what happened. So to answer that question, uh, no, we won't invite him on the show. I mean, he's doing, I'm not knocking it. He's doing fine with the KITVs of the world. So, he goes and spews that because, as you know by now, Mel and I, we're the type, the moment we see the letters B and S start to fly, we will make it known. We're not going to hold back because we don't believe that you folks should be getting skewed information. Because, like I said in one of my posts, I'm not an expert, but I know when on scientists, the noted epidemiologists, virologists, they all kind of align on the same plane that, right now we don't know enough about the vaccine. They're talking about it. And yet we have a lieutenant governor because he has a badge of courage that says MD after his name. He rolls into his opinion as if everything else is no. What says goes. I'm going to tell you what goes. That is, I mean, I got to say this. I give him credit because you got to get some gohangas for put yourself out there for do that. So what I would like to know, and like what Mel is saying, there's got to be a medical doctor. There's got to be an epidemiologist. There got to be some expert out there who thinks the same way as he does. Because somebody's giving him science-based information, I think, to make him go down this path. Yet the other ton loads of experts on this side is like, they're not even touching it with a 10-foot pole right now.
Every medical expert, every scientist, in fact, every government leader is out there saying the same thing about the vaccine and what happens afterwards if, in fact, you can still carry the virus. Because no one knows, right? They're still doing studies. They're still doing trials. But honestly, Charlie, I would not allow Josh Green to come on our show for his safety and not ours. Because based on how our viewers feel, we would be blocking everybody for what they're posting. And I don't like block nobody. I really don't. But I can see the frustration. I don't even know if I could maintain myself. But why bring them on? We see them every morning on KHON, every morning, several times during the newscast. Where did Charlie go? We see him on his Facebook lives. We see all of that. There is no question of his position. There is absolutely no question of where he stands. He has made it clear that he believes in his mind that, in fact, when you get the second shot, you're immune. Immune meaning you're not going to get sick and you're not going to be able to pass the virus. That's what he feels. So I'm not sure, like Charlie said, I'm not sure who he's getting his advice from. We know it's not Fauci, who he claimed he used to get it from. That's why I'm curious. I want to hear someone that can come up and objectively say and tell us how they came to the conclusion that you are 100% immune.
It would be so unique if you and I snuck over to the Capitol and went to his office, and the receptionist would be saying, "I'm sorry, gentlemen, you can't go in. He's consulting right now with COVID experts." And you and I listen to the door, and all we hear is, "Hey there, boo-boo. I don't know about that picnic basket."
Yeah. You know, you know, if there were, if there were 50% of the experts that agreed with him, if there was 40%, my golly, even if there were 10%, even if there was one person that agreed with him, then I guess you got to give him the time of day, right? You got to at least listen. But there is none. And trust me, I have tried to track that person down, and they don't exist. They do not exist, and that's why we cannot bring him on because for what? Charlie would be laughing all of after that, or his screen would go black because he would punch the camera, and that's not cool. Not cool.
This guy goes, "Hey there, boo. What you think of the herd immunity, boo boo?"
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, Charlie, there is no other explanation. There is no other explanation. He's getting it from Boo Boo. I don't. No. You know what I mean? If you're not even trying to be funny, it's just again, people. Where does it come from? Where does that line of thinking come from? Not that. Listen, this is where I think sometimes I get a little upset. Maybe is when people characterize those of us that feel safety should be a priority. They characterize us as anti-business or anti-opening up. That's two different things, two entirely different subjects. And yet the balance is what we got to find, but you cannot. And again, maybe this is where some of the disagreements will fall, but you cannot compromise health and safety for the economy. I know what the lieutenant governor is, he said, oh, people are going to die, businesses going to die. Yeah, we understand that. And it's unfortunate, but we're in a damn pandemic. And why would you take a chance of a really silly decision that could cost hundreds or thousands of lives? So that's, I think, Charlie, that's what frustrates me quite a bit is when, again, and I'm not just saying with Mel and Charlie, I'm saying anyone that is concerned about health and safety of our people here in Hawaii, and we criticize or question the lieutenant governor's position, that doesn't make us anti-business. It makes us pro-health and safety. And that I think, that's my ask for everybody is to understand that there's two different things, and they don't necessarily go hand in hand. Because while I want to see businesses open up, while I want to see schools open, while I want to see sports, high school sports, while I want to see all of that things happen, I also want to make sure our people are safe. And right now, the states that the lieutenant governor wants to market to are the states that are blowing up. So I question the logic.
There's never been a doctor that I know of that we can invite. I mean, we've had many doctors, right, on the show. And many of them are ER physicians that we've had on the show. I've never had one that said, I want to come on and let you know it's fine. Even though I'm overrun in my department, it's fine. No. You don't get an ER physician come on our show and tell us that. Because if that was true, we would have had them already. Wouldn't you think so? We would have had that doctor on. But all we get is what you guys are experiencing now. 2 weeks ago we had that, and you guys gonna feel the wrath if you folks don't take care. That's all they said. Okay, they weren't threatening us or giving us anything to scare us. They were just being real. That here, I stabilize you. You're having a difficult time breathing. Your oxygen rate is in the low 90s. we're going to have to put you on a ventilator pretty soon. I want to save you. I want to save you. And I'm telling you that you're going to be taking up a bed and we're going to have to mix you up. But there's a lot of other people who are not sick with COVID, but with other, and we got to make room for them too. That's what they're telling us. So I think that if there's a doctor out there that would have come on and said, you know what, guys, you guys need to throttle down because it's okay. It's going to be okay. They would have come on and said, Charlie Mel, I want to tell the people out there, I'm an emergency room physician of one of the largest ERs in the United States. And I'm telling you right now, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. We put our email out how many times? If there's someone out there, you can private message me. You can email me at Charlie Iona, that's CharlieIona @me.com, and write to me and say, I want to come on your show and I want to tell the world, you guys need to throttle down because I want to tell the world, yeah, you can open up. Don't worry about nothing. Because if people do get sick, don't worry. There's people like me that are going to save them. I want a doctor to come on and tell me that. Then I say, okay, brother, go for it. Go for it.
Well, I can tell you, if that doctor existed, that doctor would have been on CNN, MSNBC, Fox. It would have been on every single newscast, and that thing would have been
Nickelodeon. He would have been on Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon. And that thing would have been shared on Facebook 100 billion times. But the reason you never saw that is because that person does not exist. That person does not exist. And, when you look around today, we went, Patsy and I went to Lidgate, just drive. After we went to Popeyes, we just took a ride, Lidgate. Choke people, all local people, all the pavilions, big pavilion, all the small pavilions, all, nobody get masked, nobody social distance. I know there's no way one household can have that many people. I take that back. I'm sure there's some, but the crowds were out of control. I'm seeing pictures of Maui. I'm seeing pictures of Oahu. I'm seeing pictures of the Big Island. So, you add that and you compound that with the safe travels. You compound that with, I know a lot of people are feeling really good about our president and he's doing some things, but this president needs to do what Trump didn't do, which was close the freaking country. And this whole thing about you got to take a test from international travelers, weak. The test is not 100%. We got to do it. The countries that have been successful, and this is where I look to Biden to be the president that he said he was going to be. Lock it down. You want to come to our country? Guess what? And you can quarantine at your expense. That's how you're going to end this thing as soon as possible. Okay, so we're going to restrict our local people. We're going to try to get to the 70% herd immunity, but we're going to allow more infection to come in from the other countries with one test? No. He can't, violates the Constitution. Okay, I don't know, Cal, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what part of the Constitution would violate to require international visitors to quarantine. But my point is this: if we're going to try to put the band-aids on the small wounds, but keep the funnel full with people coming in, then I don't know. We're not going to win this. We're not going to win this. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
I do want to say this, and I know I'm going to upset some people, but I'm going to be very ginger when I say this. Until we get enforcement that goes out and catches every single Mutt and Jeff, Tom and Jerry, Hebe and GB walking the street without a mask and citing them. That whole thing, it seems so futile. But I will say this. If I see a family walking along by themselves, no one around, without a mask, I ain't gonna make a big fuss about it. Where the danger occurs is they forget that once they start getting into that zone when somebody else is coming up, they should don the mask and they forget. That's when I get upset. Okay. But I'm not going to lose sleep over, you know, I mean, I'm going to be 62 this year, running down, go, excuse me, put on your mask, you know, chasing you down Kalapaki Beach. For what? You know, if you're over 18, you add out enough, you know right from wrong. You like be stupid. And that's why I say the thing I worry about is this whole thing about mask wearing. It's going to get to a point, somebody will get crazy and some people get cracks. And that's what I worry about because they just don't get fed up. And that's what we're trying to prevent. But if it was me and brother stay in the middle of nowhere with no mask, I'm not going to even lose sleep over it. And if he waves down, I need a ride, I won't lose sleep over it because I'll keep on going.
You see, the problem is the educational messaging ain't working.
Yeah.
You know, the informational messaging from this wonderful state ain't working.
Yep.
Because if they did, you see what you're hearing from the state, trust me, when you listen, if you're listening again, I hate to be picking on the lieutenant governor, but he's the only one that's really talking. If you listen to him, you get the sense that it's not that bad, right? He just makes it seem like we're in top shape, but we're not getting the message out of how serious. You know, yeah, the governor passed a mask mandate, fine, but nobody going to enforce them. Okay, you know, that's the messaging is not accurate and not or adequate, I should say. It's accurate. It's you got to wear a mask, but no one's enforcing, and the people know that, and that's how viruses spread. See, we're blessed here on Kauai because the virus count is so low. But when you get used to that behavior of hanging out with friends at the beach or at the homes without masks, if that becomes your back to normal because we've been relatively low in case counts, should we get a cluster, you basically got to re-educate these guys again to wear the mask. And that's I think what's upsetting is
well, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Today we had 82 on Oahu alone, 20 on Maui. I forget what the Big Island and one on Kauai. If this trend continues, then why don't we do this, ladies and gentlemen? Why don't you look towards Kauai as the temperature gauge? If you see Kauai start to climb and start to spike, because we have been very, very safe all this time, if it starts to climb and it starts to spike, that's pretty much a good indicator of what the rest of the state will start feeling. So if I was a betting person, I would tell you, keep your eye on Kauai right now. Okay? And remember this, you hear this all the time. Yes, two were travel related. The other two is believed to be community spread. What that means is, and all four have no relation, right? So what's that telling us is the two that supposedly community spread that didn't travel, especially if they got the new variant, guess what? Somehow that bugger would sneak in past our borders under the radar and nobody knew about it. Isn't that a scary thought? Isn't that a scary thought? That's why I say, you know, with contact tracing, if you're telling me that the variant has made landfall in Hawaii, and all you care about is, hello, who do you come in contact with? But you don't. And this person and that person had no relation. Then maybe you should ask, what about the location? Was there something else that may be in common? Like maybe they bought food from the same restaurant. Maybe they were at the same longs. Do something like that. But just to say, oh no, this one said they don't know this person and they don't know who they came in contact with, blah, 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 blah. And then you just cut off the investigation right then and there. Guess what? You know these new variants that popping up in Brazil, South Africa, the UK? Guess what? When it makes landfall, You cannot find out where it came from. Just know one thing. It got through our defenses and we are sunk. Sorry for the bad news, gang.
Well, I know for us it's like preaching to the choir, but hopefully our message gets out. Hopefully, people. I know someone just said that they're ignoring Kauai, and that's so true. The reason why they want to ignore Kauai is because Kauai is obvious, looking at Kauai's numbers, that their safe travels program isn't working, and they want to just get rid of that. They want to get rid of the anomaly of Kauai by forcing Kauai to allow people to come in with just one test. And they don't want to, because Kauai poses a threat to their theory. And they can say all they want that it's because we have a different demographic of traveler. That's so full of crap. Why would anybody say we have a different demographic of traveler or visitor or whatever? That's so ridiculous. But that's what they say.
Because they come to Kauai for one reason only, and that's to pick coquet plum. They don't come for any other reason.
Yeah. I don't know what we'll see. We'll see what happens. And again, as we talk about the Kauai arrivals, the travel to Kauai and the numbers, if you look at the HTA report, is so low. Again, we get one false sense of security because that number is not accurate. The number that you see on the HTA website is only the flights that are direct to Lihue Airport and not those people that stop in Honolulu to get on a connecting flight. Sue Kanoho has said on our show, posted on our show, that we get anywhere from 200 to 400 visitors a day coming into Kauai. That's what we got, not that 20 or 18 that HTA talks about. That's why it's so disgusting, because you cannot go to one source and get accurate information. You got to go everywhere. You got to go different places to try to put the pieces of the puzzle together. The bottom line is, look at all the rental cars on the road. I know a lot of you guys, it's still not as bad as it used to be, but we're still seeing them. They're here. And imagine if they take away Derek's right or authority to require them to stay in a bubble or quarantine for 10 days. Imagine that. Hey, kiss that goodbye. We'll be flooded and we shall see what happens. Sad.
Today, on one of the networks, the host of the syndicated was on MSNBC. She asked the question of this noted expert: what is a variant? Did you see that one today?
No.
What is a variant? A variant is a mutation, right? So he brought up the picture of the coronavirus, with the spikes. And over time, there's the variant, it starts to mutate, that one of those spikes will be out of the norm. Now, can you imagine? You are that lab worker looking at the microscope, and you a couple million of them floating around, and you're looking for one that the hairdo is like stay a little bit longer than the other. And you try to follow that bugger. Just imagine after 8 hours, you come home like this. Hi, Hardy. How was your work today? And your eyeballs like, honey, what's wrong? I said, you try to look at 2 million viruses, and you look for like one damn hair sticking up out of place. That's a variant. You know what I mean? And all I could do was laugh. I'm sorry. It's just, hey there, boo-boo. Yep.
And you know what? I mean, I hate to say this, and I hope I'm wrong, but, listening to some of the medical experts that I follow, there'll be more variants. There'll be more variants. That's what this virus does. And that's why it's important to shut them out so we don't get them into our country. And that's what I've been trying to say. We got to, at some point, you got to put your foot down and say, hey, you want to come? You come, but you're going to be on quarantine for 15 days. And you don't come out until you take a negative test. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just...
How can you tell the difference? It's like the UK variant. What? The spikes look like fish and chips. That's how you can tell it from the UK. The Brazilian variant get look like a bikini from Ipanema. You know, how the hell you tell?
Yeah, it's exactly the type of bikini that they're wearing. Yeah, that's what I was told. Couple of other things because we're running out of time, and I just wanted to get this point in, Charlie, before I turn over to you. We got some issues here going on Kauai right now. Again, the legislature looking at issues about driving on beaches and about fishing, commercial, non-commercial fishing, starting to charge licensing for non-commercial fishermen. All of these things that are going on. Listen, my point is this. We don't have time tonight to go over those bills, but get your legislators involved, and get your county legislators involved. Let me just say this. Give me 1 minute, Charlie. I'll get this, wrap this up. For so many years, I was on the county council. When the state passed bills that I didn't support, I would voice my opposition as an individual council member. Oftentimes, we would do resolutions in opposition. If the county council does not do a resolution, let's say if the 7 council members cannot come together and say, hey, we as a county council of Kauai oppose bill number XYZ. When the bill passes and you go to your council, your legislator, they're gonna use this excuse of, we didn't know, no one had come see us. So that's where we, as citizens, residents, we go to our county council members and you say, hey, let's get a resolution in opposition of that bill. We don't think it's good for Kauai. If they want to do it for the other islands, let them go. But for Kauai, we don't need this, but we got to get our local legislators involved. Okay? Again, they're our voice at the Capitol. Don't let them tell you that that's a state issue. No, it's not. It's a local issue. If it affects our people, it's a local issue. So that's my challenge to you guys. Because I'm getting all the messages about these bills that are floating around, get your county council involved. Call them and write them. Remember, they're your council members as well. Anyway, Charles.
Yes. How can I help you? Yes.
Can I have 2 of those variants and 1 of the original, please?
No, I'm just, I stay up all times of the morning, as you know. I just stay up because I'm thinking to myself, how the hell? I mean, so when they find a variant, that's based on somebody's word. Yep. Alert, we have a UK variant. Yes. Joe Schmo, nobody challenges Joe Schmo like, hey, how you know that's a UK variant? Like on fingerprint, identifier. He takes one print and he puts out, okay, this is what I noticed. This is how we validated that this is the suspect's fingerprint, da. But how do you do that with a variant? When you get so much of them just floating around in wherever, the thing you test. Man, I wish somebody would tell me the answer to that. Because, man, if they tell me, somebody wrote to me, says, when I had to count certain things, I use on clicker. I go, well, I use a clicker too, but when somebody talking to me and I lose count and the click go all off, then then you got to write them back to 0 again, then you got to start all over again. So what you do, you put a big notice on a do not enter, because I get peed off, somebody bother you when you're clicking away, right? And then, or you question yourself. I know I ain't count down. I think I count, and I just want to throw them in anyway. And then I count all off again till you wind them back down to 0 one more time. Brother, they ask you, how many of these tests you done in one day? 1. Only 1. What happened? I'll roll back to 0 several times. Yeah. But anyway, Mel, I just like to say thank you for joining us tonight. Somebody asked, Mrs. Iona, is Charlie always this way? The answer is yes, and even more, and more nuts. I was one of those police officers that people thought that I was nuts, and I said, well, I was one of Jerry's kids, equal employment, employer opportunity. And they said, okay, you kind of crazy, but they allow you to carry on gun too. I go, yeah, so don't get me mad. Just answer the questions. So, I always believe in humor. For those of you that see me on stage, I've been that way as well. I mean, I've dealt with hecklers all my life. And instead of getting mad, you just belittle them with humor and you make everybody else laugh. So I hope some of you had a little laugh tonight. And if you didn't think it was funny, keep your opinions to yourself, okay? But I'd like to say thank you for joining us. Love you all. We're gonna have a 1 day break and we'll see you on Monday. But again, please use caution, safety, wear your mask. Don't worry about what the other guys are doing. Don't worry about what they're doing. You gotta avoid them. Now I'm in a mode, you know, my wife has always told me, she goes, honey, over the years, I noticed you're not as combative as you were before. I said, I try my very best to not get into a situation because why? If I get stuck in that situation, I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I can dial it down to back off. And that's the danger. So I'd rather just be, pono about things and just walk away. No use confront anybody, especially with this pandemic. We're trying to save lives, not ruin or hurt someone else. So that means that if you got to have your mask, keep it in your pocket wherever you go, put it on. And I tell you, I wish on Wahini going into a store. I know all you Wahinis, you guys just love to buy handbags. Me, for some reason, I go into the store. I get like about 20 something bottles of hand sanitizer. Why I gotta buy some more? I think the world coming to the end. So I go buy as many hand sanitizers as I can. But I'm always over there sanitizing, and you should do the same too. I'm not saying buy 20 to 30 bottles, but just make sure you have something available. Keep yourself safe. Keep your family safe. We'll get through this. But like I said before, a little humor goes a long way. So I love you all. I want you to enjoy your weekend, okay? Back to you, Mel. Thank you, brother.
All right, Charlie, everybody, appreciate you guys again joining us tonight. As we do every night. Tomorrow night, we take the night off as we do every Sunday. We will be back on Monday night at 7 p.m. I'm trying to think.
Tuesday, we got Les Condo.
There we go. God, I had a brain fart. The other thing that Les Condo is trying to do, Speaker of the House, is I'm just calling it like I see it. He's trying to get rid of the auditor. It's ironic that the action started right after the auditor came up with a very scathing audit of the ADC, the States Division, Agribusiness Development Corporation. So anyway, Les Condo will be on Tuesday. That's going to be a good one. We hope you guys can join us. But until Monday night, 7 o'clock, people, you guys stay safe. Enjoy your Sunday. Y'all take care. Love you guys. God bless. Aloha.